And good morning, everybody. We're back from our little unplanned break. Oh, I'm going to have to take over this, aren't I? The worker does not like this area where we chop the trees down. There's obviously still some debris somewhere in the field below line of sight that is just causing the worker to say, just no. So, updates so far. We are on our third tank of digestate, tanker load of digestate. I don't think another 30,000 litres is probably going to work for this field and we'll be done. Gonna run around the outside. Now again, I'm not going completely OCD on this. If we miss bits, we miss bits. But this is primarily a nitrogen boost that's going to assist in reducing the cost of fertilizer. And that's our main goal here. So in the bits we miss, we'll get extra liquid or solid fertilizer, whatever I decide to put on the field. And but in the grand scheme of things, that won't be a big cost, as spreading the whole field with what it needs. Okay, we're getting low again. I did notice the mistake I made. I brought the cultivator up to this field, but we're really not going to need it. Oops. Because our seeder is capable of direct seeding. The only time we really need the cultivator is when we're planting sunflowers or corn or sugar beets or potatoes. But for all of our cereal crops, the sunflowers are, or the seeders are direct seeders, so we don't have to cultivate. And frankly, this field is looking absolutely fine and ready to seed. So I think the tanker's empty. Yes. So, dump another load of digestate. That's 4 tanks. And this time I must remember not to forget to turn the pump off. Because while you can turn the pump off while it's not connected to a pipe, it stops drawing power on the tractor. It does. There's something in-game where it still thinks the fill pump is running. Now when you empty the source vehicle, the pump automatically turns off, so it's kind of annoying. I have to sit in the tractor while we're filling and then jump out to disconnect it. And there we go. Turn the pump off, then get out. Then do all the things and all the stuff. Okay. Now if I wanted to, I could drive around the farm track, around the field just to our left. But it's not like we're driving over any crops at the moment. That was a quick visit. So I will unfold this. We'll do along this edge, I think. And then we'll get back to the other side of the field. I mean, one of the things I could be using the sort of the cheat mod to fill this up when we stop, but then I have to take the tractor down to the BGA. The truck's a little bit quicker. And I am kind of claiming that the truck's the one doing the driving, not this tractor. Righty. Looks like our Valtra's working. And what I ended up having to do, I've rotated the Valtra so that it is on the 90-270 cardinal points. And hopefully it's not going to have as many issues going that way as it is on 238 1/4 by whatever. And said we go through this stuff quite quickly. This is a nice field. It might not be very big, but it does look like it has a very good level of, or good type of soil in this top corner. Which is gonna be good for the yield. I mean, I don't know that the yield is super. Between the individual soil types, it's only about 20-30%. And in theory, you get a lot more bonus with your fertilization and all of the other bits and pieces that you're doing. At least that's what I'm assuming. And because of the math involved in all of this, it's a lot less easy to quantify what doing a level of fertilizer does. Because you're really just looking for ideal pH and ideal nitrogen levels, and that's it. And that missed. It's okay. Oh, nearly used another tank load. Oh, good grief. But yeah, this segment will probably be about an hour. We have some visitors expected around about 11 o'clock. I'm going to need to wind up by then. Actually, oh, we've only got 700 litres left. What I could have done was just go and fill up with what's left in the tanker. Because I knew we weren't going to get far with that. Not even noticeable. Okay. So yeah, my latest findings in Farm Sim 22. I'm messing around with cows at the moment since I haven't really done a cattle farm. I mean, our Lawfolds was predominantly sheep. This farm is totally sheep. So I'm figuring our next Saturday series will probably feature cows. And if we're doing that, then I need to know all about cows in Farm Sim 22. So my findings are, if you feed them grass, it's just horrible. Grass leaves your cows at 0% health. They are underweight, undervalued, and just not good. Whereas you feed them hay, it takes a couple of months to get them up to 100% health, but then their weight and value is the best it can be. With TMR, exactly the same result. So feeding TMR versus hay, I've not found any differences yet. But my cows aren't old enough to be producing milk yet either. So there's still that portion to consider. The only difference that I'm seeing with TMR is the production of slurry is much, well, 30% higher. So if you have cattle and using slurry or manure is a prime reason for doing it, you need to be feeding them TMR. If it's not, if you're just producing cattle to either sell for meat or, at least at the moment, produce milk, I don't think you need to go to the hassle of producing TMR. The hay is good enough. Now, obviously, I've still got, I think I'm just coming to the end of the first year, so I've still got another 24 months of tests to run. But if my findings hold out as they have so far, then, it comes down to the whole, what's the biggest bang for my buck? If I'm doing an arable farm, I want either a sprayer or a spreader in my initial kit because I can do contracts with those, and plus 23% yield twice. So that's a big deal. Getting a roller or getting a mulcher, plus 2.5%. If I don't have the money, then why should I spend it? So similarly with cows, as far as the game mechanic in Farm Sim 22 is concerned, if you're just starting out, get your cows, feed them hay, get some income going, and when you have the money to spare, or when something comes up in the store sale, used equipment sale, pick it up then. And you're going to want the TMR mixer, you're going to want the wrapper, or collection wagon. Yeah, and as I said, I'm not up to producing milk for these cows yet. They're still just 11 months old. I think 12 months coming up, and it's great up too. Welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow even. It's. And I've got 3 sheds running. One is grass only, one is hay only, one is TMR only. What I'm intending to do is I'm pretty much proven that feeding cows grass, they're 50% the weight of hay-fed cattle, and they're 50% of the value. So I could say that test is done. Okay, what happens if I let them eat all the grass, which might be a problem because it's full, but start feeding them hay? Do they catch up? Does it take 2 months, 3 months? They're never going to catch up, but actually grade it that, okay, maybe I let young animals that don't produce milk just eat grass and leave it at that for the first year, and then after the first year, if you bump them up to hay, do they recover their weight and value really quickly or never? Oops. And just work that test out. But I really I want to figure out what the test is going to show us. And then the last part of the test is at the end of... So it takes 18 months... Oh, crud. It takes 18 months for them to be... what's the word for it? Thing. It takes 18 months for them to be able to produce milk. And then in another 18 months... Previous testing by other people has shown that after 36 months, animals reach their highest value. So, over the 18 months where a cow is fertile and producing milk, do they produce as much milk in those 18 months as the value difference between a milk cow versus beef cow? So that's the final part of my test, where I examine the final cell value. What do I do here? I need the hand. There we go. Because I would like to know, what is the difference between, or the income difference between beef and milk. If they've done it right, it should be the same. The value of the Angus or Limousine should be the same as the value of a Swiss or Holstein if you include the milk that they produce. Are we rolling? I can't tell. Oh no, we're sliding. Oh, that's interesting. So anyway, that's the cow test. I've already done the greenhouse test, and greenhouses are just limited by water consumption rate, so it doesn't matter if you do 1 crop, 2 crops or 3 crops. You end up with the same amount of production proportionally as the crops grow. Now, I was talking to I exchanged some conversations with someone on YouTube this week that also indicated that any production that used a single source of of supply does divide its output. So if you take a dairy which needs just milk and will produce either butter or cheese, there is no benefit to turning both cheese and butter on, because it will produce 50% of its maximum rate of each one. But what we don't know is, say, a furniture production which takes lumber and planks, lumber or planks to produce furniture. Does providing both double the output of the production facility? Because it's drawing from different input sources, and that's what we don't know. Okay, if I fold that up, we're done here. That was relatively painless. So I think what I'll do, I just did another load, so we'll call that 5. I need to make 5 draws on the BGA, but not a full draw. I'm going to need to turn the help on. And lower slurry tanker detach. I'm guessing I'm going to have to connect it to the hose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty this digestate tank completely. That'll put something back in the truck. I don't know that I'm close enough. No, definitely not. Okay. And up. So we need to change pump direction to emptying. See? Turn on the pump. So that will pump all the slurry that's in the spreader back into the tanker. And of course it takes a while. Now this should turn the pump off automatically because the slurry tanker will be empty when we're done. There's the fill level. Now, of course, the nice thing with FarmSim 22 is you can actually do this job. Sounds like the pump's still going and it's empty, so we'll turn the pump off. You can actually set the worker to go and fetch you more, which is nice. So click that, that, drag that round to there, and again I need the help tab on, store hose, bing, done. I think I do like the manure add-on, whatever it's called, but the only clunky bit is the whole getting the hoses stored on the side of a truck. Okay, we will park that there. You're still working, goody goody. So we've used what, 1,600 litres of digestate here. So how does that work? If I take 1,000 out, how does this work? What I want to do is, If I just empty this tank completely, I just go and fill it up 5 times and just throw out. Okay. I was trying to come up with an easy way of doing this, but it's the brain freeze math moment. I owe the BGA 150,000 litres of oops, 150,000 litres of digestate. Well, I have noticed that since I'm using precision farming, I use significantly less digestate than I did, because you don't have to fertilize a field. You don't have to get 3 levels of fertilization with seasons running. All I'm doing here is topping up the nitrogen so that I use less liquid or solid fertilizer, but there's no real way to get the most ideal nitrogen levels on a field. And let's jump back into the truck and put it in drive. Okay, it fell off. Come on. There we go. I mean, the nice thing about it is being able to do this. Oh, I am way too close. It saves on having all the liquid fertilizer tanks lying around the yard. Because I can just combine them into, the fewest number I need. Okay, let's try that as a... I think I'm too far away